Hey, thanks for watching CNN 10. Our daily 10-minute shows are on pause for the summer, but we will be posting clips like this Monday through Friday until our regular programming resumes in August. So please enjoy, and to get notified of our content, please like and subscribe to this channel and keep up with us at CNN10.com.
So you might think Title IX is this 1970s law about women's and girls' access to sport, but it is about so much more. It is about sexual violence. It's about transgender rights. It's a piece of legislation that affects children, parents, professors, coaches, and it has transformed the world that we live in today. Title IX is a federal law meant to prevent gender and sex-based discrimination in entities that receive federal assistance. The first chapter of Title IX's implementation is really associated with access and equality in sports. Kathrine Switzer, this female runner who's told you can't run the marathon, she actually signs up under her initials a few years earlier and runs the Boston Marathon.
The world's most famous foot race even attracts a leggy lady, Kay Switzer of Syracuse, who did
But there are lots of stories like that. And what's really interesting is that as women like Switzer are pushing back on these assumptions that girls and women can't or shouldn't be physically active, they are succeeding. But Title IX almost immediately faces resistance. So you see during the 1980s that there are movements to kind of constrain the reach of Title IX. For example, there's one case, a Christian college called Grove City College, and Grove City College pushes back on the directive that they have to comply with Title IX regulations. They say, we don't actually have to comply because the only federal aid is these direct grants to students, which happen through this one office. But ultimately, it is decided that that doesn't stand, and that once federal money flows into an institution, it might go to a scholarship or a grant, but it flows throughout the institution and has impact, and so thus they are kind of beholden to Title IX.
Today, I'm directing every agency and executive department of our government to strengthen their enforcement of Title IX within the next 90 days.
In the 1990s, you start to have both kind of more rules regulating how Title IX is imposed, but there's also something new afoot, which is that Title IX starts to be used much more expansively around issues of sexual harassment and what comes to be known as sexual violence on campus. And so you see the expansion of this legislation to be applied where there might be harassment, either by teachers or by peers, that creates an unfair discriminatory environment. So if you think that early on, Title IX and sex-based discrimination is basically thought of as girls not getting an equal shot, by the time of the Obama administration, it's being expanded to say, hey, sexual orientation counts under this rubric. Hey, gender identity counts under this rubric. So they are both expanding the definition of what constitutes sex-based discrimination and continuing the fight for equality in sports. One of the signature moves of the Trump administration is actually to roll back Title IX protections, to remove transgender people. And then the second one is a series of decisions to make reporting of sexual violence more difficult.
There is no way to avoid the devastating reality of campus sexual misconduct. Lives have been lost. Lives of victims and lives of the accused.
So today, the most intense battles over how Title IX should fairly be carried out are absolutely about transgender rights. Today, we're talking about sports teams again. And now one of the most kind of hot button issues is about what is fair in terms of gender equality and inclusion of transgender athletes. The most high profile case is about Leah Thomas, a transgender woman swimmer at the University of Pennsylvania. Immediately was a lot of blowback about this being a kind of unfair advantage because Thomas retained critics say, much of the advantage of her originally male physique. It's really been an issue which is kind of testing what the purpose and the limits and the proper implementation of Title IX is. So I think it's important to realize that for every step forward that Title IX has made in terms of safeguarding gender equality, there has been pushback and there has been backlash. And depending on the historical moment, some of that backlash has been more successful than others. We know from the history of Title IX that there can be real change, real institutional transformation can happen.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at CNN10.com, and we'll see you in August for daily episodes of CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus.